I am. And but be that as it may, I'm still in the community, and it's no better than nobody else. I read books, I teach, I still gotta eat, I still gotta go to the hospital, you know, I still gotta, you know, push clothes on the back, food on the table, so we all need each other. Right now, the farmers, if you've been paying attention nationally, they have been getting a really raw deal, right? But to bring that locally, even our truckers, I don't know if you guys have been getting a really raw deal. With a lot of import export being, you know, decreasing at risk, they're not in a union. So again, when you're taking food, right, and money out of people's pockets, guess what happens? The housing situation that we're talking about today. So that's why I say this is a systemic issue, and there's a lot of things that we have to work on. That's why it's important to start just, you know, building and working together on a grassroots level and building from there. So she's absolutely right. And then that's the other thing. When we come together and support each other, there will be no, you know, teachers getting, you know, in trouble, so to speak, or losing their jobs or having to sacrifice their lives because they have the support of the community. But if there's been no collective build, right, and people are supporting politics over the people, the politics should be for the people, always. Whatever decisions are being made, we vote in representatives to represent us. And I want to, you know, just talk briefly, really quick. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. It's saying this about, you're recording. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going with this. And I'm sorry, guys. I feel so bad because when somebody just came and they kept calling, it kicked everybody off this, and I don't know how to get it back. So it's like, I don't know what's going on here right now. Okay, so I'm going to try to, thank you for your patience to stay with me. Okay, so you know, just getting back to what I was saying, when the people come together, whatever it is we're fighting for, whether it's sanitation, whether it's homelessness, and the rights of the homeless, whether it is policing, many of you know that we had, you know, a consent decree recently. It took 20 years to get it. It's gone now. So that's another thing. Like if people don't know, like how can they lift their voices to it? And we have councilmen, and I'm quite sure had I called like certain councilmen, we don't have communication because they don't understand. Sometimes they misunderstand and they think if you're in disagreement with them that you don't like them or you're being mean, and it's not about that. It's just about talking about sometimes really hard issues and having the healthy discourse back and forth about the issues, not about personalities, not about anything else but the issues, and then having the people bear witness to that and decide by majority what it is that they would want to do. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's our goals as we move forward. I had somebody else that was supposed to be here to speak, a couple of people, I don't know where they are, but I do want to say it's important that we have people in office who understand policy. I think a lot of what is going on now with a mass majority of Newarkers is that we are voting for people based on popularity. Sometimes we vote on people based on who has the most money. And we vote based on maybe one issue when it's really a plethora of issues that we should be, you know, holding the candidates, you know, up to. Yeah. And like last night, a young lady asked me a really good question that I've been asked before, and I posted about it today, so I'll share it now because I think it's really relevant. She said, you know, why would you run for office if you don't have any background in leadership that you never sat on the council, right, city council? Why would you run for mayor? And I think it's a really good question, so I do want to respond to that as it relates to the homelessness situation that we're dealing with. So what I said was, right now we have a council, right, that is, they kind of head nod everything that the current mayor says, right? And I don't know if our voice is present because even as a district leader, no one asked me my opinion or what I thought or what my district thought. And that's important because if you're not acting on what it is that the people think, the ideas, even the people who don't always agree with you, whose thoughts, feelings, and ideas are you acting upon, you know? And so I don't think it's about that. And I also want to bring to light that the last mayor we had here, Cory Booker, he never sat on a council seat. Mayor Eric Adams in New York never sat on a council seat. Sometimes it's really about being consistent in the fight for the people, which I have been. I don't just pop up during elections. I live on a number block right now. For those of you who know, I live on 13th Street, and I'm a parent. You know, teaching has been my lifestyle my whole life. And it's not about that, but it's about who shows up. It's about who's not afraid and has the courage to speak truth to power, to hold those in office accountable, because we're not going to always agree. Many times I agree with some things that happen here in the city. Sometimes I don't agree. There needs to be a mic for both of those times. And especially when it's being done, you know, in a respectful manner, because discourse is healthy. Yes.
Branch. Cory and Branch. Remember that?
Oh, Branch too? He didn't sit on council?
No, Branch. Cory beat Branch for the seat.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Okay, somebody just shared with me that Cory Booker beat Branch for the seat. But yeah, so, you know, basically, you know, it's still the same point. You don't have to sit on council. There is nothing written that says that. But what you do have to look for is somebody's integrity. You do have to look for their consistency. You do have to look for the work that's being done when the cameras aren't rolling. Like, you know, we were told about the water being clean. Many of you may remember not too long ago. And the water was contaminated, not only with lead, but it was contaminated with, yeah, it was contaminated with lead, true indeed, but it was also contaminated with, I'm going to cut this off because I don't think, and I apologize to everybody who was on here, but I think that we lost, you know, our audience online. But not only was it contaminated with lead, it was also contaminated with 40 other cancer-causing, you know, ingredients and things like that. So hold on for 1 minute, I apologize. This is one of my speakers. Michelle, we're right in the middle of it. Are you here?
Okay. Okay.
Are you here?
Yes.
Okay. So can you go for me to make sure? Okay. Yeah, she's just trying to get in here. So that's one of the speakers. Again, I apologize. This is our first meeting, and like I said, this won't happen again. You know, people, when I say we're doing something from 12 to 1, that's what it is. People got to get here. But like I was saying, what I was able to do, and I was not running for office, I was able to work with people in Flint, Michigan, because many of you know they had a huge water problem that was occurring there. And those activists came up here because, again, when you fight for people, losing your job, reprisal, all of these things are commonplace since, you know, just historically. And these people came up here with nowhere to stay, and they were able to stay, have residence in my home, to be able to take a stance against that issue. We was able to hold accountability. We was able to hold accountability for the residents who needed that accountability, because once the water activists came here from Flint, Michigan, and, you know, we protested, we rallied, we worked together with a very strong group from the Ironbound at the time. And we were able to get the current leadership to say, yes, there was a problem. We were able to get it addressed. We were able to press and get the county to give money. And we were even able to get the President of the United States to put in $100 million toward that. And so this is why I say the people are important. And this is why I say together we serve. I can't do anything by myself, no one can. But together we can do everything that needs to be done. And that is what my goal is. People do not choose to be, and I'm sure some people think, yeah, they choose to be homeless. That's not the case. People don't have the history. After the rebellion took place here in the city of Newark, which many of you may know about that, they stopped teaching civics in the school. They started to teach social studies, which is not the same. So people don't even know that they're supposed to be actively involved and engaged in, you know, the decision making that occurs in the community. But also the schools, the public schools, the churches, after the churches receive 501c3s and the schools, they're not allowing, you know, freely for us to come into these places and congregate and talk about the issues, but they do put polling sites there for people to vote. that is problematic in and of itself, because how are our younger generation, and I'm saying 35 and under right now, like, just to put them out there, how do they know who to vote for if it's not popularity? You just can't look at somebody and say, hey, I'm gonna vote, that person looks nice, right? That person has on chucks and pearls, or that person has on a doobie. Oh no, it's not about that. It's about knowing who that person is. It's about knowing what it is that they stand for. It's about being able to watch them over a period of time and say, you know what, that person is in line with the things that I believe. Case in point, I'm gonna give you a very small scenario as it relates again to the homeless situation. Let's say I'm a candidate, right, and I'm running, and you're like, oh, I like Sheila. What is it that she stands for? You need to vote for who has your common interest, but do you know what that your common interest will vary according to if you are a homeowner and if you are a renter? Those are not the same interests. Now, you can have a candidate that is supporting both, but do you know what it is that they're supporting at all? And that's what's important to know, because we have development that is mushrooming in this community in light of the rise of homelessness, in light of the rise of displacement, in light of the rise of erasure across the nation. And so it is up to us as a people, again, to come together, to be more collectively, just in terms of what the issue is at that time. Like I said, this is the first of many meetings that we're gonna have. People don't even know they're supposed to be actively involved in things. And then I'll give you another example. On Clinton Avenue, there's a building there, Hotel Riviera. I don't know how many of you watched, we were out there for a few, and they were evicting people illegally. People literally, I saw, had paperwork in their hand, orders to stay directly from a judge, and they were still getting told that they could not stay there. We're sitting here right now with somebody in this room whose brother had a situation with rent. I think the rent was like $1,400 or something like that. Near overnight, it skyrocketed to like $2,700. These things are illegal, and there's ways that you can fight back, but we don't know if we're not communicating with each other, talking about the things in place, because they're just not there for you to see and know. And that's putting a hardship on people. Even the people who feel like they're in the street homeless because of drugs. Who put the drugs here? It's always the people on the lower level that get, carted off to jail, get these records and where they can't vote, oftentimes, or they never really get over those felony records in one way or another, right? And they should be able to. I think that that Murphy did pass something that said once you're done, with your convictions, that you can vote when you're done with your time. And I want to commend him for doing that, because it was needed, but it always should have been the case. Rehabilitation centers are not rehabilitating people. How many people are coming from there that are out homeless now? Not to mention our veterans who fought for us in this country, who you can find by the dozens down at Penn Station, you understand? And they're not gonna bring this meeting together today. And so if we have to risk whatever to make sure that we're fighting for people in this situation, it's important that we do so. But the more of us join together, the less that we're going to be at risk for anything. And so again, what we want to do, and I'm going to take some Q&A from the audience, and have one of my speakers are here. I'm going to have her also say a few words. We just want to see what it is that the community wants. We're not going to talk about the problem. Like I said, I want to say again, in terms of the current administration, we applaud them for the efforts that they have done, giving people food and, just different activities and things that they have done over the years. We're not competing with that. What we're doing is we want to establish policy so that people can regain their dignity, so that people have rights, that they're not thrust out into the street illegally, and that they know where to come for those resources and for those rights. Because people don't know, about housing. The average person doesn't know anything about legalese. And it's hard to get a lawyer to, support us. We don't have the resources or the money. So you can get, done dirty illegally if you don't have somebody to fight for you. So it's important that we have representation that's going to fight for us. And with that being said, I'm going to segue into Michelle Middleton. Michelle is a former West Ward councilwoman. When she ran here, I'm a resident of the West Ward. I was very happy that to see her run. And because she was knowledgeable, so today I just want her to speak to you. She's not running, but I want her to just say a few words about housing, you know, because she's very informed in that. And I just want her to say a few words, you know, as it relates to this. You can come and see.
Okay.
And not too much, because thank you, Michelle.
Good afternoon, everybody. I don't want to be long-winded. I didn't realize I was going to actually be on camera today. But thank you to Ms. Sheila Montague. As a former police officer who has dealt with a lot of homelessness and someone who spent 30 plus years in economic development and housing, I worked in the nonprofit arena for many, many years. And one of the biggest problems with homelessness is mental health. You can take someone off the street, and this is my own personal experience. You can take someone off the street, but how long are they going to stay off the street, right? There has to be much more consistency with our organizations that bring the people in. Because one of the things is that we do in our social society is we warehouse people. We bring them in for the numbers, and then we forget them. And we are guilty of that. And what we need is more proactive incentive from the church. What is the church for, right? Not just tithing. It is for social acceptance of all people, and then the kinetic, you know, reciprocation, right? You get and you give. And I don't see that a lot. That's the old church. I don't know about the new church. But one of those things is the church, and then the other thing is the community. We do a lot of talking. We talk for the moment, and then we leave it there at the table. That's just not with homelessness. It's with community everything. It's with anything having to do with social issues within our community. Homelessness is the biggest problem that we will ever have in our community. Do you know, and this is myself here speaking, I always tell people I had a job, I had everything, but I ended up homeless. And homeless didn't mean in the street, it meant not having your own. So if you're sleeping on someone's couch, honey, you're homeless, okay? If you don't have your own, you're homeless. And it took me a long time to accept that. I was homeless. I was homeless for like a year. And that comes from not just financially unstableness, it comes from people saying, hey, we don't want a kid. We don't want any children in this apartment building, or not having enough money to pay the rent, or whatever the situation is. Homelessness is not a discriminatory factor. It can happen to anybody, okay? Fortune 500 people have been homeless. But my biggest thing here is that we need to be more proactive as a people. It doesn't have a black or white issue sometimes. It's just a people issue. I think it's mostly mental health, for one. High rents, for two, because you have greedy landlords who are literally just a cancer in the system. And there's really, really, truly no reinforcement, no accountability, no checks and balances. You can stay in the system. I've had to, unfortunately, evict people and take them to court. Matter of fact, I got fired for keeping a woman in her apartment who was 70-something years old.
Wow.
They told me they wanted her evicted around Christmas time. This is many years ago. She came to court with the money, and when I got to the office and I told my boss, I said, well, she paid. He said, but I wanted her out. Do you know how much money we're losing on that apartment? I said, but she paid. He said, you weren't supposed to accept that money. All types of nuances like that can lead you into the street. A 70-something-year-old woman should not be in the street.
Come on now.
Because
That's right.
the landlord wants to raise the rent. There are no checks and balances. And the rich are running amok.
Come on now.
Okay? And so we need our society, our social society, to pitch in. Not talking, doing. And that's really what I'd like to say.
Awesome.
I know all the programs that they can get or have access to. I think we need to spread the word because people don't know. So when you don't know, you don't do. And that's really the issue here. And so I'm looking to my right. I see someone who is running for West Ward City Council, I
Right.
think. And, you know, I'll be fully supportive of this gentleman.
Yeah.
Why? Because we have like views. And so that's really my spiel on the cuff today. But for Sheila Montague, you're looking at the best that we have right now to run for mayor of the city of Newark, New Jersey. And she's passionate, she cares about the people, and it's not just talk, it's doing. So that's my commercial, that's my spiel, and that's it for today. I'm Michelle Middleton.
Can you announce the person just so the YouTube people can know the
and
name?
Zachariah Jackson. I would be remiss if I didn't mention him. He's an incredible videographer, incredible producer. In fact, I've had time to talk to him. I mean, I think we talked. And he's an incredible insight in every single thing political. So I really thank him for allowing me to say this on the mic. And he's just a wonderful pastor, too. So thank you.
And so just bringing this to a close, I do also want to share some commentary about Zachariah Jackson as well. And thank you again, Michelle. Thank you so much. One issue that we have that's not really talked about in Newark is the issue of media. We don't get media attention for the issues that we have unless it's something negative, somebody did something wrong. When we have a lot of right that is going on here, and Zachariah is one of those rights. Black media, and yes, and people don't like when I say black, it's like, oh, no, I'm gonna say black.
That's right.
Black, I'm gonna say black.
black.
We deserve to have representation like everybody else. I have been to national events outside of New Jersey, and we do not have it. We do not have representation for us. We have people that the upper echelon pick to symbolize blackness, but whoever, if you eat the king's meat, then you have to do the king's bidding. Zachariah Jackson is doing media, and he's doing the bidding for the Lord, you understand? And so I don't care when it's going on, rain, sleet, snow, or hell, he's gonna come, he's gonna cover the story, he's gonna cover the candidates. By the way, Jimmy, have you guys met and had an interview yet?
Not the interview, but we have met and spoke on many different occasions.
Yeah, so Zachariah is, and listen, that's advocacy in and of itself. Like I said, we all won't play the same role, but we're gonna play a role. You know, like I'm running for mayor, but that's like a figurehead type thing. We need representation, and like I said, I live here. I live this experience. Even when I wasn't homeless, like we moved. I know so many people. I've lived all over Newark because we was poor. Newark is an extremely transient place, so I done lived in every ward. Because you know, when people trying to struggle to pay rent, sometimes you don't make it. We're moving again. But we've learned to know each other, love each other. We done fought together. We've done everything together here in Newark. And it's very important that we move forward in that same trajectory. And those of us who are at a certain age right now, it's up for us to make sure that the younger people know what that look like. They need to know how important media is. They need to know how important it is to understand and be able to speak about housing off the cuff.
Yes.
You know, and they don't know that because the shows that we have are different now on television. You know, we don't have the Cosby Show anymore, or a different world where they showcased going to college and it was a big thing. You know, we have just the opposite. Yeah. And I'm gonna just stop right there to, like I said, just entertain anybody else who have thoughts, questions, and ideas, because it's really about the people. But I wanted to take the opportunity to not only, you know, introduce myself to you, but to let you know that there are so many other people, like I said, who in the media, you won't know from the media. You won't know. There's so many other people that play a role, like Ramon. People don't know Ramon. Ramon does a yeoman's job, not just in this city, just nationally, in advocating for people. Like I said, I advocate for all people, but it's people who just only work in silos. Like I'm black, I'm not gonna be afraid to say, you know, I'm representing for black people, but I represent for all people. I'm a person, I'm a school teacher. At the end of the day, I don't see color with kids, but guess what? I'm not oblivious to the fact that the world does.
That's right.
The world does. And we just have to act accordingly, and not with hate. We need to know our history, but with love. You know, we do things in love. Even if it's to wage war, it's a healthy space to, unfortunately, that's created to get the things that we want when negotiation is not taking place and our voice is not being heard. So fight comes in a lot of ways. Organizing, this is one. Today. And so with that being said, I so am upset that I wasn't able to do this Zoom completely, and I just want to say thank you to, Shahid, Cleveland. I'm going to give him a shout out. Please give him a round of applause. Shahid has been kind of shadowing me for a while, just out of his own individual love of people. Like, let me see who this woman is, you know. And I think his cousin that I grew up with told him about me. And he doesn't have to do that with his life. He could be doing a lot of things.
That's right.
But everybody plays a role. And you'd be surprised how constantly I hear every day, oh, you shouldn't be running. Why are you running? Oh, those people need to care about themselves. No, people need to be organized by people who don't have a secret agenda, because there has to be a trust effort that's there. I told people years ago, and that's why when Michelle was running, I supported her. I listened intently. The same reason why I'm supporting Jimmy. And I don't have a secret agenda. Like, people are like, oh, you're going to give me money to endorse you. No, like, these are good people who care about other people, so I'm going to support them. Like, and I told people about a candidate we had here before for, I'm not going to say any names. If you read the paper, you already know. Just got indicted. Federal charges. I told people, I said, I'm not going to support that. And these people, they think it's cool until it's not, until those handcuffs go on and those felonies get handed out for corruption. And I hope it's just the beginning, because you don't use the most vulnerable, disenfranchised people in the community to make money off of. You could go into tech if you want to make money. You could go into you could do a lot of things. You don't do things to people. And like I said before, just to reiterate, and now I'm going to drop this, get off my soapbox with this. Yes, people have made some poor decisions, right, to become homeless. Yes, mental health is definitely a part of all of this, right? But just to bring this back, because I don't want us to be remiss, we're not going to blame the victims. We're going to identify the root causes. Systemically, we have been targeted historically. Like I said, those drugs in the community that led to a lot of the mental illness and things.
Yes.
We didn't plant those drugs here. Right now, I know this for a fact. 7 out of every 10 boys on the street got a gun. How?
That's right.
How? Guns not even from this country. How? And we can say, oh, these boys got a gun, they did it. No. We need to look at the root causes. If you just pull a weed up and you don't pull it out of root, what it's going to do? It's going to grow back.
Yes.
And that's why we keep this heavy rotation of our young people going to jail, a heavy rotation of our young people going to jail. That is erasure. That is erasure. There's a lot of other things that play a role in that, but I'm going to stop right there. If anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns, please at this time share them. Anybody? Yes, Zachariah.
Well,
Come on up.
Zachariah Jackson, BASA News. There you go. I'd just like to say this right here. I go out with my camera and video and things of that nature to video the stories. And in this area of New Jersey, in this Newark, East Orange area, we have some of the best political minds ever. No matter whether people come, I don't like this, erase that. You know what I mean? We have minds, man, that if they, my prayer is to bring them all together. If they can come together, do you know how we can turn this ship around?
That's right.
We could put a nuclear engine on a slave ship and roll it right on back. With power and strength. Don't worry about the cells. The minds that we have in this area, it's a shame that they don't come together. Because in this area, whatever happened here, I don't know whether Abe was from the 60s and just finally, hatched or whatever, but the mindset here, the political mindset here, could run this whole world. That's my answer.
Awesome.
I have to
Thank
also, you have to look at individual agendas.
Yeah.
No,
Okay, and listen, we're just gonna close out on the homelessness, and we can have a conversation afterwards, but
Yeah.
we're just gonna close out. Anybody else wanna speak to homelessness? Ramon, you have any comments? I would love for you to share. Come up. Everybody, give a, Ramon a hand.
Hi everybody, it's me, it's Ramon Hernandez.
Yes.
I'm born and raised here in Newark for almost 20 years in the West Ward, in the North Ward and Central Ward. Right now, I'm currently a volunteer at a nonprofit organization called Angels on the Ground, which I'm a proud volunteer helping out with the homeless situation. We actually give out food, coffee, warm clothes, and need to provide to help the homeless population because this is a serious issue. And every Sunday morning, I'm out there, I'm out with fellow volunteers, and we help out whatever we can because this is a serious issue. And I agree, there's a mentality issue that's happening through the homelessness, not only the drug issue.
And so it takes all of us, and again, that's why my slogan is Together We Serve, but in bringing this to a close, I just want you to know that if you have not already signed the sign-in sheet, please make sure that you do so. That email list is gonna enable me to continue sharing information with you guys to keep you in the know. Please forward the emails to people who you know that are concerned. There are a lot of people are concerned, and there are a lot of people who wanna get involved. I see like people who nondescripts, like you don't even know who they are, going down there in groups to give homeless people stuff all the time. Right. So there are people here doing the work, even though we don't know their names. But again, like Zachariah said, if we could just come together, and we gotta understand when we see people planting seeds of dissension, and that's what I call it when people are like, oh, well, I don't like has nothing to do with the commonality that we need to work collectively to get the work done, and that's how we want to move as we go forward. So again, make sure that you sign the sign-in sheet and make sure that your information is there, so I can continue to give information on the homelessness bill of rights. Oh, and also, hold on, I want to just give you a couple of pieces off this. Give me 1 second, because we're not playing. So we have about 10 articles here so far, and I'm just going to share with you a few of them, but first the preamble. Homelessness is a condition, not a crime. Individuals experiencing homelessness are residents of the city and are entitled to a full protection of constitutional, civil, as well as human rights. This homeless Bill of Rights is submitted as a preventative compliance framework to support adherence to federal and state civil rights obligations and to reduce foreseeable harm to vulnerable populations. Article 1, right to human dignity. All individuals experiencing homelessness have the right to be treated with dignity, respect, and humanity by public officials, law enforcement, contractors, and service providers. No individual shall be harassed, degraded, or publicly shamed due to housing status. Article 2, and I'm just going to read the titles for this, because of time. Right to exist in a public space, they have a right to. Article 3, right to safety and protection. Article 4, the right to shelter and housing access. Article 5, the right to personal property. Article 6, the right to health, hygiene, and sanitation. We've seen with the money that was allocated for illegal immigrants who've come into this country, that money exists for what it is allocated for it to exist to, so there should be no problem in making this happen as well. Article 7, right to privacy and autonomy. Article 8, right to equal access and non-discrimination. Article 9, right to due process. And Article 10, right to participation and oversight. Now, with that being said, I just want to close out with, because I want to be very clear that our Senator Brittany Timberlake is already doing work in this area on a state level, and the bill is 1083. And also the bill is in the state also under the assembly. I want to make sure that I give you that because it's very important. Oh, guys. I gave it to you earlier, but I want to close out. Yeah, and the assembly bill for this is 1678. The senator sponsored it, but she has a co-sponsor too, somebody else who I think came up with the idea. And with that being said, I also want to, give accolades to Manera Bomani because she was the one
Yes, Lord.
who said, Sheila Montague, she said, we need, because she saw the work that I was just trying to do as one person. I'm out in the cold passing out blankets and stuff. She said, we need a homeless rights bill. I said, you're absolutely right, let's get on it. So we have activists that are on the ground, and I don't mean sometimes, I mean all the time. And Manera Bomani does not stop. She does not stop. And she's a part of this. We have people in the Ironbound section again. I can't think of everybody's name, but you will meet them as these sessions continue to go on. And again, I want you all to be, involved. And just thank you for joining today, and may God bless and keep you as you go throughout your travels. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, so that's a tape that I